Terry Brooks, standing for Labour for West Thurrock and South Stifford. 6 months ago up in Ockenden.
Yep.
Unsuccessful, but what did you learn up in Ockenden?
Well, I learned to look into the reason people are voting for UKIP, and I do understand why people have voted for UKIP, because we were absolutely battered by UKIP, to be perfectly honest. Unexpected, but I do understand people are voting for UKIP because they've just had enough of this Tory government and seeing the finances going down. But what I want to get across to people is the Labour Party is the only party you can trust in local politics.
A huge ward. What do you think, as you've walked the ward, etc., what do you think are the challenges here?
Well, in the last 2 weeks me and my team have actually walked the whole ward just about. I think we're on the last little bit of it today. We will be going back, obviously. Main issues that have come up is the traffic here on London Road. There's a huge volume of traffic, and something hopefully my predecessor Andy Smith brought into place, fought for, was the ban of lorries here on London Road, except for access, and as the one goes past now, that's something I want to champion, as Andy did, to keep the heavy goods vehicles off London Road. Another thing that comes up a lot here is the street lighting. People want to keep the street lighting on. Lots of people have brought up that they've been to Basel in the evening and they're in darkness. The Tory council there turned the street lighting off to save money. Another thing Andy championed was to keep the street lights on here in this ward, and I will fight for that. Also the council tax, people complain about the council tax all the time. Obviously it is high, I know that myself. I will also fight to keep council tax here the lowest in Essex.
Areas like the Garrison estate down in Berkeley, over the years that I've worked here, the people sometimes feel like they're the forgotten people of Thurrock. Have you got that feeling at all down there?
I've spoken to lots of people on the Garrison estate over the last couple of weeks again. I haven't got that feeling that they feel forgotten. I think the area is definitely in need of some regeneration. Another thing that I will be fighting for, along with my colleagues in the Labour Party, is the regeneration of Purfleet. People are crying out for some decent shops here. There aren't a lot, and this regeneration, which Labour are championing now, will go a long way to help the residents of the Garrison as well as the rest of the residents of Purfleet.
Just going back to the traffic for a second, I get a little bit confused. Devonshire Road, what is the state of Devonshire Road right now?
Devonshire Road is an access route for heavy goods vehicles. The Tories put a heavy goods vehicle ban on that road. Another thing Andy Smith fought for was to use it as an access route for heavy goods vehicles to keep them off London Road. On London Road, if you talk to people on the doorsteps on London Road and a heavy goods vehicle goes past, you can't really hear them. So I will again fight to keep Devonshire Road access free for heavy goods vehicles, to take that volume of traffic off London Road, which residents right across this area talk about on the doorstep all the time. The heavy goods vehicles, they're damaging the road, they're making their lives a misery. I want to keep them off there.
Are you hearing Andy Smith's name a lot?
I am hearing it a hell of a lot, yes, definitely. A lot of people just have respect for him, for everything he did. He was always on the roads here. He didn't drive, so he walked the ward regularly. And that is what people say, he always dropped in for a cup of tea and a biscuit while he was in this road. And I've never heard anything bad about Andy Smith, which is great.
And although you're saying you're carving out your identity as Terry Brooks, you're carving out your identity as a Labour candidate, fighting the crest of the wave, which we spoke about at the beginning of UKIP, that must be a bit tough right now in 2014.
Well, it looks tough. Again, there are supporters of UKIP in the ward. I've seen a couple of posters here and there, but I haven't heard a great deal of people telling me they're voting UKIP. Some people do, obviously, but I wouldn't say it was massive. And I will just champion and try to convince these people that the only party they can trust here to run the council properly, to keep the council tax low, keep the lorry ban on London Road, keep the council tax the lowest in Essex, force the regeneration of Purfleet through. The only party they can trust to do that is the Labour Party, and I will keep on championing those things.
Terry Brooks, thank you.